Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are from Season 11, and I guess now we're in Season 12, even though Season 12 doesn't start for another 20 hours. I thought I was making this video when there was still a day left so that anyone who was on a last-minute Legend push could maybe learn from some games played at 3500 up to 3600. But now I guess we'll just admire a team that could, I guess, still be played because Walrein has been nerfed, but only by a little bit. Um, but also, I guess, appreciate how Walrein was maybe unnecessarily strong and, maybe needed a nerf to begin with. The meta, obviously, that you're seeing by the time you're playing your next games looks absolutely nothing like this because it is full of every possible new Pokemon with every possible new move. And I'm going to get to those as soon as I possibly can once I get some sets in the next season. So I am opening with Shadow Walrein. I had resisted making a Shadow Walrein for the longest possible time because it's just like it was the most meta possible thing, and I just didn't want to play the most meta possible thing all the time. But, for my final push towards, I don't know, however high I would manage to go, I thought I was going to have the rest of tomorrow to push also. But now the meta looks nothing like this anymore, so yeah, I don't know. Seeing if I could climb in the next 2 or 3 days would be a lot like just rolling some dice. Just, seeing if I get someone who's running something so strange that it's almost unviable, but I don't know. Towards the top of the leaderboard, I probably won't even get games because I think most people are probably feel like, well, I've locked in my score for this season, and probably most people won't be playing until the next season officially starts and we get our reset back down to rank 1 or to level 1. But yeah, Walrein in the back. Shadow Walrein in the lead. In the back, I have Skarmory and Toxicroak. This isn't actually a game that I crafted myself. It was suggested to me by someone in my Twitch chat when I was live streaming. I was like, I don't know, guys, give me a team. And they told me, try this team. It is absolutely busted, and it does appear to be, because, I climbed 400 points in 3 or 4 days, and it's a shame you can't play it because Walrein's been nerfed. I guess you go. Why am I even making this video at this time? But yeah, Walrein into Metacham. So, pre-Walrein Icicle Spear nerf, you get to your Icicle Spears in 5, 4, and then 5 again, and then 4 again, Powder Snows. In the newest update, where its energy cost has been increased, it's actually just 5, 5, 5. So, it's actually not really that big of an... It's a very small nerf. Unless my data is way off, but yeah, it's really just in the first 3 charge moves that you're gonna throw. It only takes 1 Powder Snow extra, so it seems like a very small change, and it is, but it does do some notable things. It makes Walrein much worse in the lead against a Trevenant lead, because Trevenant wins CMP, and if they're reaching their moves, Seed Bomb and Icicle Spear, at the exact same speed, then suddenly Trevenant is able to outpace. Whereas before, Walrein could get 1, or would always get 1 Powder Snow ahead, just by saving that 1 Powder Snow on that 1 move. That is no longer the case. You don't end up with residual energy off of your first Icicle Spear anymore, so it's just 5, 5, 5. So it flips that matchup. It also means that you can't quite get slightly ahead of a G-Fisk or anything else that, takes only 5 2-turn fast moves to reach the move that hits you. So, as much as the Walrein nerf doesn't look huge on paper, and it honestly really isn't. If your Walrein is in the back, it's a barely noticeable difference. It's one Powder Snow over the course of 3 charge moves. It's really not that substantial. Does make Walrein's bait potential a little bit less rewarding, just because every time you bait now, instead of losing like 4.5 Powder Snows, now you're throwing away 5. So it sort of slightly disincentivizes baiting Icicle Spear, and yeah, overall, I think it's a healthier nerf to Walrein than reducing Icicle Spear's damage. I think that making it more expensive was definitely the right way to go. So, big props to Niantic for making a pretty good call on that. Walrein was unnecessarily strong. Not that we haven't all known that for at least a couple of months. But in the back, I have it paired with Toxicroak and Skarmory. So Toxicroak and Skarmory don't do the best job of covering Walrein's basically like 1, maybe 2 true weaknesses, which would be steel types like Registeel. I mean, now I guess it's a lot weaker against G-Fisk also. So G-Fisk, Registeel, not really the most amazing coverage from a combination of Toxicroak and Skarmory, just because Skarmory also doesn't do that. And Toxicroak and Skarmory do okay against the other fighters, mostly Metachamp, but I mean, Metachamp can still beat Toxicroak with like proper baiting. And oh my gosh, there's a Hypno in the back. I just got completely hard-walled in this particular game. But even so, when there is a Metacham in the lead, I like to just stay in. Like, I've experimented running this line in a couple of different ways, and I'm going to explain a little bit about why I tend to end up staying in on fighter leads, with the exception having been Sirfetch'd this time, but I think I kind of botched that game. Maybe shouldn't have swapped. So, Walrein into Ninetales. This is a not great matchup for Walrein, and now that Icicle Spear has been nerfed, it's probably slightly worse. Just the Icicle Spear just costing a little bit more. So, I like to let the first Weather Ball go and throw 1 Icicle Spear, and I'm going to be able to reach a second one, and I would be able to reach a second one even if it cost 1 extra, so this matchup really isn't changed very much. Still going to get to 2 Icicle Spears, and I go with both of those because I'm fully expecting them to shield the Earthquake, and they just didn't. So that's tough for me. And then I'm going to bring out Toxicroak after my Walrein goes down, and my opponent swaps out to retain their Shadow Ninetales, and I'm going to stay in with Toxicroak because I'm expecting, if there's a Sableye safe swap, I'm kind of expecting there to just be a Trevenant in the back, so gonna find out now. I'm gonna throw this Mud Bomb, and they opt to shield, which is surprising. So I'm gonna shield this Foul Play. Oh, I guess I'm not gonna shield the Foul Play. Never mind. I was gonna say because it's gonna do a reliable amount of damage, but I guess I thought it better to stay up 2 shields, and now we'll see if a Trevenant ends up being in the back or not. Ninetale's gonna come out, and that is totally fine with me. I'm just going to shield this up, because this Weather Ball would obviously kill me. Air Slash down, and there is in fact a tree in the back. So just going to throw an odd number of Air Slashes, throw this Sky Attack, and then just going to throw 1 more. Get to my Sky Attack, no problem. I tried to throw an extra one to maybe go for a Brave Bird, but seeing that I'm not going to reach it, I decided to just throw the Sky Attack. I was pretty sure it was going to KO, but since I wasn't 100% positive, I was like, well, let me see if I can get to the Brave Bird or not. But yeah, good for me. It is enough to KO. It's weird that I didn't know that offhand. So Deoxys Defense. Deoxys Defense beats everything on this team pretty substantially. So I am just going to stay in with Walrein because I do the same thing for Metacham, even though Metacham is not as good against the things in the back, just because my thinking is that something like a Deoxys or a Metacham would have to have some anti-charm or some anti-flyer in the back. And those would generally be, steel types, or like, I guess it would be generally steel types, or like something like a bulky normal, like Lickitung. I guess you actually need defense against Trevenant. That's probably more important. This makes sense. So Lickitung is going to come out. I'm kind of expecting him to have his own Walrein in the back. I think this is a pretty common team, right? Deoxys, Lickitung, Walrein. Isn't that a thing? Pretty sure that's a thing. So I'm just going to stay in, build up a bunch of excess energy, and now I'm going to throw the Brave Bird. I was assuming they were going to let this go, and they did, and now I'm just trying to spam out an Air Slash, and Walrein comes out, so I'm going to build up some extra energy, and now I am going to go for the Brave Bird since I was able to reach it. Pretty sure this is going to get a shield, but that's fine. It just means they'll get a little bit less Powder Snow energy. And this Walrein has an Icicle Spear loaded, and I think they even have one over that. So I'm going to send in Toxicroak, and I am going to no-shield, even though they're at the Earthquake. I'm just going to call the Icicle Spear bait, and they do throw it. So now I am going to end up shielding up an Icicle Spear anyway, which 2 Icicle Spears cost about the same as an Earthquake, so at the time it didn't make any difference. And I was expecting a combo play to come out right after that, so I was able to switch out, catch the Psycho Boost, throw 4 counters. They're at their next Psycho Boost, and now I'm just going to throw this Mud Bomb. That's going to be barely enough to take out this Deoxys. Actually, that's not true. It was enough by at least like 20-25%. And I am able to reach this Mud Bomb, and that is going to be enough to take out this opposing Walrein. That is a GG. Deoxys defense was really difficult with this team. Now that Walrein is slightly nerfed, I guess it would have nerfed his Walrein also. Yeah, it would have been about the same. Anyway, I managed to get a 3 out of 5, and I get a Phalanx, which is awful. I really just want the I really just want Zacian and Zamazenta, and I just seem to have a very low incidence of getting that. And I climb up 22 points, up to 34.42. Did I see that right? Hope I saw that right. All right, Walrein into Sableye. So this is a pretty decent matchup for Walrein. Since I'm using a Shadow Walrein, I'm just going to end up shielding everything, and I am going to outpace Sableye slightly, and that is not changed at all due to the Powder Snow, due to the Icicle Spear nerf. So going to shield this Foul Play, throw an extra just so that they're only 1 Shadow Claw away from their next Foul Play, and now I'm going to throw this Icicle Spear and see what they want to do. They decide to shield, and I'm fine with that. I swap out and catch the Foul Play on my Toxicroak. It's pretty reliable that it's going to be thrown there. And there's a Skarmory in the back. I don't know why I opted to do that in this game. So here I'm throwing a Sludge Bomb, which is double resisted by Skarmory. Even though Mud Bomb is single resisted, Sludge Bomb still does slightly more damage, and since I'm not going to get 2 Mud Bombs off, it makes sense to get the little bit of extra damage that I get with the Sludge Bomb. And now I'm going to send out my own Skarmory to absorb the opposing Skarmory's energy and load up on energy of my own. They are throwing another Sky Attack. It looks to me at this time like they're maybe just trying to throw Sky Attacks to wait out the Switch Clock, because they didn't even build up to a Brave Bird. And since I've kind of lost track of their energy and I don't want to end up going too low, I throw the Sky Attack. I left them with a little bit because I hoped that I'd be able to just Air Slash that down and get 1 extra Air Slash, but I undercharged by a little bit too much, so I ended up taking an extra Sky Attack. And that puts me dangerously low. Kind of a misplay on my part. I really didn't need to undercharge at all. Like, in retrospect, I should probably have not done that. But gonna throw the Sky Attack. And then swap out to Walrein. I am going to shield this Play Rough. Build up as much energy as I can hold, and then I am baiting Icicle Spear because I just need them to shield, and they do, so because of that, I'm actually going to be able to get to this Earthquake. It's going to do pretty substantial damage to this Azu, which is building up a little bit of excess energy, and I don't know that that's really necessary at this time. Throw the Play Rough. That is going to take me out. Azu is not going to be able to reach a move. They swapped into their Sableye, which transferred the damage from one of my Air Slashes. I throw the Sky to take them out, and 1 more Air Slash. We simultaneous KO. That was a super close game, but there were clearly like 2 times where a time where myself and a time where my opponent made mistakes, because even at the highest level of gameplay here in like upper legend rank, yeah, we still make plenty of mistakes, guys. All right, so they save up Reggie, and I am going to send out Toxicroak right away. When you send Toxicroak into a Registeel, like you could, if your Toxicroak is really highly ranked, survive that Zap Cannon and safely farm down. I mean, even if you're not that highly ranked, you surviving can like farm down. But I like to shield and just end loaded up with energy. I am going to throw a Sludge Bomb, and then I'm just going to spam out another Sludge Bomb, which will bring this Altaria super, super low unless they decide to throw their move. I like to let them get to this move and let them throw it, because as long as the Altaria doesn't end with a ton of energy, there's not really as much danger to me. Trevenant going to come out into my Walrein, but my Walrein had an energy lead, so I am just going to throw this Icicle Spear, force the shield out of them, and then swap into my Skarmory, try to catch a Seed Bomb. Even if this is a Shadow Ball, they'll have to throw a second one anyway. So I just let it go. It turns out to be a Seed Bomb bait, so fantastic no shield for me, and I'm not going to throw anything. I'm actually just going to farm the whole way down. Shadow Ball lands, and you can see that a Shadow Ball plus a Seed Bomb is not enough, so they have to actually double Shadow Ball to take out a high-ranked Skarm. So I'm just going to spam out this Brave Bird, take out the Altaria. That is a GG. All right, next up against Kodakanuk. Walrein into Lickitung. So Walrein outpaces Lickitung slightly, and that has not changed. It takes the equivalent of 5.5 Powder Snows of licks. It takes 11 licks to reach the Body Slam. So they will still... Oh my gosh, they Power Whipped. This is like the first time... I swear this is like the first time a Lickitung is Power Whipped. Here, I'm going double Icicle Spear because I'm expecting them to shield the first one, and they don't. So throwing an Earthquake would have been about the same. I managed to just barely get to this Icicle Spear, but I wouldn't have been able to get to that Icicle Spear post-nerf, so just throwing the Earthquake would have been the thing to do at that time, which was what I would have ended up doing because I wasn't going to reach the thing. So they have a Ninetales in the back, which is pretty bad for my team in general, but Toxicroak is the best answer to it, so was happy to get those things aligned. Threw a Sludge Bomb, managed to get a shield off of this Trevenant, and now I am going to send in my Skarmory. I am going to no-shield everything coming from it, coming from this Trevenant, because it's going to take 2 Shadow Balls, and I don't think they're going to be able to reach. I'm throwing my move here because I'm actually too low on health on my... Toxicroak to really take all of this damage, and maybe if I had thrown a little bit earlier I would have been able to get to my move, but since I not going to be able to get to 2, and neither are they, we actually just fast move each other down for another simultaneous KO in this set. If either of us had thrown the charge move, the other would have shielded, but they also would have snuck in a fast move, and that person, whoever didn't throw, was going to win that, and neither of us did, so we ended up simultaneous KOing, just, you know... That sneak would have been enough. So, Walrein into Wigglytuff, which you don't really see all the time. They safe swap Toxicroak, and I threw a Icicle Spear. Forced the shield out of them. I mean, they would easily survive it, but it would have done like 60% damage or so. So maybe they thought, you know what, if I shield this, maybe I'll be able to win switch. Not going to happen. I am, unfortunately, sending out my Skarmory into this. Skarmory is going to be able to farm Toxicroak the whole way down, just barely, though. You can see, actually, that with the amount of health that my Skarm survived with, if they had Sludge Bombed, they would have just won that outright. They would have been able to force switch. Not that it would have made a difference, because there was just a Venusaur and a Wigglytuff in the back, and neither of those things is amazing against Toxicroak, nor particularly amazing against Walrein. Venusaur actually didn't really have anywhere to go. And into this next match against Meweedle. Shout out to Meweedle. I think he placed like in the top 4 at the London World Championships. Some people have asked me why I was not there, and the answer is because it's far, and I'm busy. A couple of people have asked me that. I would have loved to go, but I actually didn't even attend a regional, because the nearest regional to me was in Ohio, which is like 600, 800 miles away. It's far. I would have had to dedicate an entire weekend and get like flights, accommodations. It would have been expensive to go for to even go to a qualifiers to see if you can get in. This upcoming season, though, Niantic is actually much better about it, or the Play Pokemon Company is a lot better about it. There are about like 10 or 12 regional locations in the United States, so I will definitely be at least trying to go to one of those tournaments at some point, probably this season. It's just there were only 3 of them last season, and they were in like Middle America, and I live on the coast, and it was just way too far. But yeah, would have loved to go to London, but like not if I had to go to like Indiana or Ohio first for a weekend. There was no time. But yeah, so Meweedle is using his signature Araquanid. I think he used it in like a lot of. Wait, was that his signature Pokemon or was that somebody else's signature Pokemon? Oh my gosh, I should have researched this better. He's running out of Araquanid. I'm just going to assume that it's his signature Pokemon because I remember someone was using it and I could swear it was Meweedle. But yeah, the reason Araquanid is good is because it was a very, very hard wall to Walrein. I actually reached the Earthquake here and just decided to bait Icicle Spear anyway, even though I'm probably not going to get a second move off because I end up CMPing them. He could have thrown his... Rock Slide earlier than that. I'm not sure why you waited until I got to the Earthquake. Probably trying to build up some excess energy so that he'd be able to force something out of my Toxicroak. But yeah, he's not going to... At this point, the game is over because he's not going to be able to throw... If he throws a move, I'll just shield it. And if I shield it, I'll farm him down. And I don't think Araquanid had a move loaded anyway. So that was GG. But I think I just team comped him in the end there. And I'm not even like doing a terrible job casting these. So that wraps up this set, which is like a 3-2, but not a 3 wins, 2 losses. This was a 3 wins, 2 ties. So that is going to be scored a little bit differently. So even though it looks like a 3-2, I'm still picking up 39 points for it, which seems like an awful lot, going up to 3581 into this final set. I should be taking this cast more seriously. It's just the meta is like different. I don't know why I'm even making this video. I'll tell you why I'm making this video, because freaking Onion Frank was like, Ferrikster, please make content. It's ridiculous. It's been too long. And I was like, fine. I promise I'll record a video later today. And that was earlier today. So this is then. And I have these games, but like a moveset update happened, so it's not relevant anymore. But I promised, so I'm like, I'm a man of my word, all right, Onion. I'm a man of my word. I'm making this video for no other reason. There's nothing to gain from this. Why am I here? So Skarmory into Medicham. This is fine, right? I mean, I'm the Skarm. I'm doing good. I ended up shielding an Ice Punch because I didn't want them to win switch advantage. Also, my Skarm is loaded. You know, loaded Skarm is nice. My opponent sends out a Rainy Castform, which is never a Pokemon that I've been like a huge fan of. It always just feels like it's a little bit too clunky and slow, and just doesn't like hit hard enough, you know? So I'm just gonna throw this Brave Bird. You know, I got a shield, and then I got a second shield. I'm surprised they shielded the second one. I mean, it's Castform. So I'm going to shield this Weather Ball because I wasn't counting, but I was still like, pretty sure it was a Weather Ball. They're going to swap out into their Drapion, and here I'm throwing a Mud Bomb, but like, I could have also just like not and just farmed the Drapion the whole way down and sludged as soon as Castform came out. Instead, I just, you know, I built up a little bit of extra energy and threw a Mud Bomb, but like if this Castform had reached a Weather Ball water, I don't think it would have KO'd, but even if it did, I think at that health range, I think maybe Walrein would have been fine or something. I don't know. Guys, these games are being played at a really high level. I'm sure that me and my opponent are both counting and doing the appropriate things. I just don't remember. So, like, yeah. Am I tired or something? Why am I like this? Walrein into Swampert, right? This is a good matchup. It always has been. It still is, even after the nerf. Like, now that the Icicle Spear's been nerfed, like, you know, Swampert will be able to outpace Walrein because it wins CMP. And actually, you know, it was always kind of able to outpace if you count getting to Hydro Cannons faster to be outpacing. Against Shadow Swampert, I guess this actually makes a pretty big difference. Because Shadow Swampert into Shadow Walrein, like 2 Hydro Cannons is enough to KO. So I guess it's actually like the nerf doesn't change that matchup that much because Walrein was already losing it, but now it loses it with a little bit more slack. So you could even maybe, if you're fast enough, counter swap a Shadow Swampert into a Walrein safe swap now. Like, ooh, that's going to take getting used to. For people who use Walrein as a swap, I've only really tried using him in the lead. But yeah, I'm going to throw these Icicle Spears. They swapped in their G-Fisk to catch an Icicle Spear, and that is fine with me. Here I'm throwing my Mud Bomb, and it's 1 too early. Like, I should have waited until they were at the Earthquake. That way I'd be able to get in every extra counter of damage. Like, if I had CMP'd them, then this G-Fisk would have taken 1 extra counter of damage before I go down, because instead, you know, they got 1 snuck, and then when they threw, I snuck, but my sneak didn't register because I got KO'd. So, you know, probably should have just thrown on CMP here. Not that it made a difference. Skarmory's going to come out and G-Fisk top lefts. Because at that point, G-Fisk is in Air Slash plus Sky Attack range. And Skarmory's actually not super, super bad against G-Fisk. Okay, so against Victory Bell lead, I used to play this all wrong and safe swap Toxicroak. Now I just stay in. Because behind every Victory Bell, you know there's a Bastiodon somewhere back there. Like, it's a sure thing, right? So I'm going to bring in my Skarm, and they safe swap their Azu, and I'm just going to stay in, because Toxicroak is going to be able to counter down a Victory Bell, and I'm also not going to shield anything on this Skarm, because I really don't need the Skarm, because it's not going to be able to do anything against the Bastiodon that I know for sure has got to be back there, because it always is. I mean, the whole point of Shadow Victory Bell and Bastiodon is that you lead one of them, and if, you know, and then you just need to make sure that you win swap so that you maintain alignment. Like, that's like the whole team, right? Just maintain alignment. Here, it's like, no, I don't need alignment. I have a Toxicroak. Toxicroak is going to be able to punch its way through a Bastiodon, no problem. They send out a Victory Bell. That's fine. I'm going to shield this. It's almost definitely an Acid Spray, but I don't care, because Bastiodon's not going to be able to get to 2 moves, so it's like, whatever, right? You know, I take some Razor Leaves, and like, that's fine. Throw 1 counter, they throw 1 smackdown. I'm going to throw my Mud Bomb. They let it go. Like, I'm going to counter this thing down before they even reach a charge move at this point. Like, there's no way. Freaking Bastiodon. It's so nice to watch it just get pummeled like that, isn't it? Isn't that gratifying? It's pretty good. It's pretty nice. All right, Walrein into Stunfisk. So this used to be a not awful matchup, and now since the Walrein got nerfed, now it's an awful matchup. So I'm gonna shield this Rock Slide, right? And I'm actually just gonna go straight Earthquake, because they were just not shielding it for like the last several days. I don't know, last several days I would Earthquake, no one would shield. Then someone updated what my actions are in their spreadsheet, so now they shield when I throw the Earthquake right away. So, you know, I'll think about maybe not doing that afterwards, except that, you know, probably not going to get to play the rest of the season. And I could throw my other Earthquake and, like, you know, force the last shield out of them or win swap or something. But they ended up just, you know, not shield. Yeah, I should have just thrown the Earthquake because they ended up not shielding. Instead, I end up throwing 2 Icicle Spears, which is about the same. I end up with a little bit of extra energy. Sableye comes out. At this point, this is a pretty rough spot for me. Like, I'm going to throw this Mud Bomb. The only way I can really win this, probably, is catching a return on on my Skarmory, and I kind of assumed they would wait until I was closer to my next Mud Bomb before throwing it, but they opted to throw the return there. Could have farmed up a little bit more energy. Now, unfortunately, my Skarmory is going to come out. This Sableye here is going to be able to do pretty decent damage, but I will be able to have this if there's a Trevin in the back, but there isn't. It's actually a Ninetales with Charm. So I throw as many moves as I can, and now I am just going to have to throw the Brave Bird. Not quite enough to take them out, so I am going to end up getting Weather Ball down, which is pretty unfortunate, but I mean, kind of just misread that team a little bit. I was really expecting there to be a Trevin in the back because G-Fisk Double Ghost is a thing, because anything double anything is a thing. And you're usually pretty safe to assume that it's double something in the back. Alright. Walrein into a Swampert. So this is a non-Shadow Swampert, and I'm a Shadow Walrein. So unless they're both Shadow, 2 Hydro Cannons isn't enough to take them out. Scaffo actually goes straight for the Earthquake. To his credit, does not try to bait Hydro Cannon. Kind of hurts me that I did not shield, but I didn't. And his own Walrein is going to come out and get 3 Powder Snows of damage before going, or 3 Powder Snows of energy before I go down. Building up, they are 1 Powder Snow away from their second Icicle Spear. So I'm going to shield this. And then he actually swaps out into his Skarmory. I throw a couple of counters and then swap out into my own Skarm. And since our fast moves are desynced, I try to just spam out my first move as soon as I can. I know I'm not going to throw a Brave Bird anyway, so I just throw the Sky Attack. He decides to no shield. That is fine with me. Our moves look like they end up desynced again, but since he's throwing first, it's fine. I only pick up a couple of turns there. Absorb that Sky Attack. And I probably should have just thrown my Sky Attack immediately instead of building up to the Brave Bird like this. Because really what I want is actually just to do this Sky Attack damage. Like, I just need to chip this low enough so that my Toxicroak can punch it to death, right? Walrein gonna come out, throws the 1 Icicle Spear that they need, or throws the 1 Powder Snow that they need to reach the Icicle Spear, and launches that, preventing me from getting to my move. But fortunately for me, that means that he is energy dry. I'm able to just counter down, and even though he's got 2 shields and I've got 2 Mud Bombs, 2.5 Mud Bombs, and I could have actually reached like all 3 Mud Bombs, easier, safer to just counter the whole way down, and I managed to take that game for a nice clean 4 out of 5. So I get a Carablast, and that is not a Zacian nor a Zamazenta, so that is unfortunate. But going to claim that set, and I go up to 3624, and that is about where I'm going to end this season, I guess. They updated the moves in the, like, on the last day of the season instead of waiting until the next season started. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into the meta very much, so I don't actually feel comfortable jumping into it. Although I hear Lantern is supposed to be very, very decent or something, but like, I mean, they gave it Surf. I'm sure it's okay, but like, gonna get completely walled by Trevenant. Anyway, this has been a really weird cast, but I recorded these games and they were fun for me to play, and I wanted to show them to someone, and I promised Anya and Frank that I would make a video, so here we go. And yeah, don't forget to do the things you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. Most of my videos are better than this, so, if you like content that's better than this, then please hit the buttons to be notified when I make more content that's better than this. I will see you guys on the next one.